Welcome to this short but sweet practice. Today was the first snowfall, and even though it's technically fall, I'm already thinking ahead to winter. And regardless, the transition is never something that happens overnight. So we're already in a time and a season where things feel colder. We are trying our best to stay and keep warm. One of the ways we can do that is through movement. And certainly another one is through our environment and foods and things. So a good reminder to keep the warm liquids handy. So today we're going to start seated. And take a moment in your seat, whatever that might look like, to check in. And you don't have to be still. You can sway, you can look around. But sometimes hands on the body is a great way to get some feedback. How are you feeling? What do you notice? What are you holding? And what are you letting go? And then take a moment to check in with your breath. Notice its natural rhythm. And perhaps a sense of comfort, and it's always there. It's ever flowing. When you're ready, open the eyes and maybe lean back a bit, take the feet wide and swish the knees from side to side. Start moving the body around here gently. And I want to share with you a practice that we'll use as a warm-up today, but it's also, if you were to imagine doing this naked with oil in your hands and giving yourself a full body massage with oil, we would call that Abhyanga, which is an Ayurvedic practice of self-massage with oil, exactly what it sounds like. I like to do it here as a warm-up because you can get the body moving and also feel kind of how you would do this sequence for yourself if you did choose to try it with some oil. For those of you who have questions about the oil, we can definitely talk about that in length another time. But just so you know, the ideal would be sesame oil, not the toasted kind you would use in your Asian cooking dishes, but the regular kind that's unscented, untoasted, and you would want it warm. So we're not going to have oil today, but we are going to do the sequence, which is to start at 1 foot, whatever that is. And wherever you have a body part that's long, like a bone, you would do long strokes. So you can take your hands and do long strokes on the top of the foot. Now, if you did do this with oil, you would get into the sole of the foot too, rub the heel, wake up the toes. And then at the ankle, because we have a joint here, you're going to make circular motions. And you can start to feel some of that heat, right? Partly because of the friction. My arms feel like they're doing something. Then at the shin, long strokes again. Make sure you get the back of the calf, almost like a massage. You can choose exactly how much enthusiasm you have for your strokes here. And then circular motions at the knee. Long motions again at the thigh. And we forget sometimes that the back of the thigh is quite a large section of our body. So make sure you get around there. And then some of us, myself included, get cold butt in the wintertime. So give a little love, circular motions around your buttocks, and then switch to the other side. So we're going to do this really quickly in real life. If you were doing an Abhyanga, you could take as much time as you like. Starting with the foot on the other side, and then the ankle, circle, and then the shin, stronger, perhaps more massage-like strokes, and then circular motions at the knee. And then get up into the thigh here, all the way around. Again, I'm going very quickly. You can absolutely go lighter. And then circle at the butt. You can stay however you are. I'm just going to come onto a kneeling position because it's easier for me. And then hands at the low back. Now, if you're doing this with oil, you'll be surprised how much oil your body will absorb right here, especially in the wintertime. Those are your kidneys. You want to keep them warm. And then come around with circles on your belly area. You want to start in the lower right corner, come up to the top right, over to the top left, and then down. So you're following the natural rhythm of what the shape of your intestines or your large intestine is. All right, now when you get up to the chest, I kind of do crisscross strokes around each breast. And then get up into the shoulder, circular movements, upper arm, strong and straight. And then the elbow, you can either kind of circle, or I like to use this as a warm up. So you can take your hand and actually come around and maybe go the other way, circle a few times, get the forearm, warm it up. Same thing with the wrist, right? Circular movements of the wrist. A few times in the other direction. And then it's a little harder to do without lotion or oil in this case, as we keep referring to, but get all of the fingers and then switch to the other arm, get the shoulder, the upper arm, the elbow, circle the other way a few times. And it's not rocket science, but you're basically trying to get everything massaged, touched, cared for, loved. All right, and then you get the neck, just a little bit of lighter touch at the neck. Maybe you tap your cheeks or your face or your forehead to the top of the head. Reach your arms to the sky. Open them out. Big sigh. Nice. Shrug your shoulders up to your ears and then let them drop heavy. This time, tense your fists with your shoulders up towards your ears. Tense the arms, tense the face. Let it all drop. One more time, tense. Maybe you squeeze the feet and toes, tense everything you can, and then let it go. Small circles for your head. Go a few times in one direction, and then in the other. Nice. And then come on up to stand. So my hope is you got a little warm with that Abhyanga style warm up. Now we're going to get some of the spinal movements going so we can keep practicing. So start with the feet a little wider than the hip width apart, knees bent, hands can rest on the thighs for a standing cat-cow. So arc the back, stick the bum out, and then round into yourself. Cat. Arch back, standing cow pose, and then standing cat. Go back and forth a few more times. And then find an ending and stand up tall. Take your left arm out to the side and up overhead and arc over to the right side, body stretch. Come back to your starting position, switch the arms and stretch over to the other side. Go back and forth a few more times. You can make this as flowy as you want, as slow as you like. And then find an ending for that. Come back up to stand, step your feet wide and wrap your arms around you to twist. And then turn this into a hip circle. Loosen up the connection between the upper and lower body. A few times the other way. Nice. And then stand up tall. Lift your left arm and your opposite leg, so your right leg. You can reach it as tall as you'd like or stick with a spot a bit lower and more manageable for you if that's what feels good. And then step back down, arm down. Same thing other side. Lift your right arm and then try to balance on your left, your right leg, lift your left. And then go back and forth a few times. So opposite arm, opposite leg. Sometimes we do this from a kneeling position in tabletop, and we call it bird dog pose. And you can do this with as much care and slow-mo as you'd like, or you can kind of start to march and pick up the pace. Let your arms kind of be loose and swingy if that feels good. Notice a little bit of the heat building in the hips and the legs, and the arms and the back. And then if you want, add a little bit of a hop. So when you reach your arm up, little hop, and then come down. Swing the other arm up, hop, and come down. And it can feel a little awkward at first, but you might get into a bit of a rhythm. Again, you don't have to swing the arms or lift the leg as high as possible. And you can also alternate hop, no hop a few times, or you can get really hoppy about it. Notice your heartbeat. Notice the extra heat and feelings of like, oh, 10 more seconds. Nice. And then slow it down. Maybe you sort of step side to side. After we lift up and get excited, then we kind of let the body and calm down a bit. Just like when we are activated by a stressor, we get stressed, we have that, ooh, I gotta run from the lion. That happens in our system and our body automatically, and then we gotta let it come down. And moving actually helps that come down. All right, come to the front of your space and step back with your left foot for a warrior one style lunge. Take a few moments here, maybe your hands are on your hips, bend and straighten the knee, wiggle around on in your space, and then find a posture or position that works for you. Lean forward slightly. So you're creating a diagonal line from your head, shoulders, hips down to your foot. And this is what makes this more exciting for the legs, but also for the back, trunk, and belly muscles. If you like, you can reach the hands towards the foot behind you, extending that diagonal line with your arms. Or you can swing one arm forward, keep the other arm back, and then switch. So you're holding the leg strong and steady. If it's too much heat, change the shape, and then play with the arms. Notice what it's like to feel them fluid and relaxed, maybe lightweight. Nice. And then find an ending for that. Step forward to the front of your mat and then switch to the other side. Step your right foot back. Take a few moments to set up the shape. Bend and straighten your left knee a couple of times, and then maybe bend and hold. Hold the posture, but not your breath. And then lean forward slightly. Anytime the torso is at an angle, that's when the trunk muscles have to work harder. If you like, hands by the sides, Or maybe play with this swinging of the arms. Now, as we keep swinging and moving and breathing, the breath can get maybe a little bit shallower, a little bit more excited. This is all normal, but see if, as best you can breathe in and out through your nose, which is hard for me to do when I'm talking to you. But I'm actually trying to do so only on my exhale. Something to think about. Only talking on your exhale. All right, find an ending for that. Step the feet together. Woo. Take a moment, maybe take the feet wide and standing wide angle forward fold. Nothing has to be static here. Feel free to walk the hands over to one foot, maybe over to the other, or simply sway with hands to opposite elbows. And then bend your knees, hands to hips, come on back up to stand. And then we'll do that same sequence again with the warrior one. So step back with your whichever foot. I think we did the left one first, bend and straighten the right. And then find your expression of the shape. Maybe lean forward, maybe play with the arms. And if you're feeling frisky, next time you bring your opposite arm your same side arm forward. So if you have your right foot in front, next time you have the right arm swinging forward, see if you want to hop up and bring your back leg forward, kind of like we did when we were standing before. And then step back, switch the arms. So as you step back, your other arm comes forward. This is what feels most natural to me. And then swing and lift. Swing and lift. You can add the hop if you feel so inclined, or simply step forward, lift one arm, the opposite leg, and then swing back. It's meant to be fun and a little bit challenging. So embrace the wobbles. Maybe you hop once in a while. You can use that momentum from your arms and then find a way to end that and switch to the other side. So other foot goes back. Woo! Nice and wobbly. Lots of challenge for the different muscles too when you're dealing with balance and doing things in some novel ways. When you're ready, set up your warrior one. Maybe play with the arms. Find a rhythm first. And then next time your same side arm is forward, maybe step forward and bring your back foot up, your knee up towards hip height. And then big step back, return to your lunge. Shift forward, opposite arm and leg lift, and then shift back. Try that a few more times on this side. Remember, we've done it before, but when it's the second side, things feel different. We might be working with some different ranges of motion for lots of reasons. Maybe you add a hop, spring off of your back foot, and as you lift the arm, hop. Nice. Well, find an ending for that. Woo. Stand with the feet underneath you, standing forward bend. Bend the knees as much as you'd like. Again, it doesn't have to be static. You can sway. And then bring the hands down to the floor, step back, and lower the knees to the ground. So you're in a modified plank position. Arms are strong and straight. And the torso's at an angle again here, right? So the belly muscles are engaged, so are the back muscles. And then lower yourself down slowly to the belly. Slide your hands back for cobra pose. Extend the legs long on the floor behind you. And lift the head and shoulders up away from the floor. You can pause here. You can lift the palms and hover them away from the ground. Or you can press into the hands and lift the chest any amount higher. More of an upward facing dog. See what feels right for you. And then lower yourself back down. Press into your hands and knees and shift the hips back any amount. You could go back all the way to more of a child's pose, or you could take puppy dog stretch with the arms walking out in front and perhaps the head getting closer to the floor. All right, come on back up to your hands and knees. And perhaps on hands and knees, take a moment in cat or move between cat and cow. Wiggle a bit from side to side. See and feel into what feels good. And then come to sit with your bum on the ground. Nice. Roll all the way onto your back. And draw the knees in towards your chest. Rock from side to side for a moment. And then keep the shins parallel to the floor, knees approximately over your hips, and open the arms out to the side. Maybe the palms press down. Feel free to firm the back up against the floor so your belly muscles are engaged. And then let the knees fall any amount over to the right. Use the arms against the floor to help you. And you can be in this active twist for a moment. And then press into the floor and bring your knees back up to your starting position. Same thing to the other side. Let the knees fall over to the other side a few inches. Use your arms to help. And then bring yourself back up to your starting position. Maybe try one more to each side. Active twist. And the next time your knees go over to the right, let them fall all the way to the floor. If it feels kind of awkward or cockeyed, maybe shift slightly so your hips can go to the left and your knees to the right. And rest for a moment in the reclined twist. Use your arms to help you bring the knees back up, and perhaps scooch the hips over to the right this time. Let your knees fall to the left, all the way towards the floor for the reclined twist, other side. And then use your arms to help you back up. Scoot yourself back to the middle here and give yourself a full body stretch on the ground. Curl up onto one side and let your head rest on the arm close to the ground. Pause here for a moment. Notice the effect of the energy you've moved around, some of the jumping and swinging and playing. And when you're ready, press your way up to sit. Take a look around again. Check in with yourself. And thank yourself for making this time for you to move, to breathe, and to do so in community, in this community. I thank you so much for your presence and your practice, and I wish you a lovely rest of the day.